So listen, Brent, we got a lot to talk about today. Jim Harbaugh has left University of Michigan, and why this is so significant and why I think it's little, people talked about it. We knew he was looking into it. But then he came back and he said, hey, listen, I want to put in the clause that if I stay with Michigan, that I can't be fired, or there's a firing clause if anything comes back from violation. So people are like, whoa, maybe he is going to stay at Michigan. But no, to the surprise of a lot of people, he jumped ship, he's gone. And now, Brent, he is with the Los Angeles Chargers. And look, I'm happy. Harbaugh gets a great coach in Jim Harbaugh. I think people out there are excited. I think this is one of the very few times where people watching football are like, this is a great move, right? It's a great move, but we can't forget they just won a national championship at the University of Michigan, right? So he's like, I did what I had to do. I'm moving on, and people kind of are like, wow, bittersweet, but can you knock them, Brent?
No, I mean, I think that I have previously said that the Chargers, to me, of the open teams, not including the Cowboys, the Chargers were the sort of most talented or ripe or kind of the situation that Harbaugh was looking for, right? They have a couple really good players. They have a young star quarterback in the making, but they have a lot of holes. There's a rebuild. They've got some good picks, right? This is what Harbaugh wants to come in. Harbaugh's not, I doubt they're going to back in the playoffs in a year, but he wants to build something to be great. Here's where I think it's really interesting, Brandon, is the AFC is already a cluster mess of the Ravens and the Chiefs and the Bills and the Bengals when they're healthy, right? Now you put in the Chargers. The thing I like about this as a Bills fan is the Chargers are in the AFC West with the Chiefs. So maybe they can beat up on each other a little bit during the regular season. I like that.
You know what? It's interesting you said that. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even go down that road. But at the end of the day, this is what I feel. Just like college football, we talk about the portal. We'll get into another day. We can have a live discussion longer about the NCAA portal. I feel the NFL and the NCAA is really starting to trend like, hey, I'm leaving. Back in the day, coaches were like, be happy you're playing. Get your ass out there. We had these tough coaches. People didn't want to leave. They wanted to play where they were. And now it's like 5 good games. You're great. 2 bad losses. Hey, we got to get rid of this guy. This guy's not playing that well. So it's like, how many people now will be looking to jump ship and maybe try to follow Harbaugh, right? Which is not the NFL way. I get it. There's contracts. The price is different. The salaries are different. But it's like you can feel the momentum of how people are starting to act in football in general. And then now even sports across the board. But Harbaugh taking over the Chargers is really exciting. They have something to look forward to. They have a great quarterback people were high about, loved. I think he could bring some morale there. But like you said, this is not an overnight thing. This isn't like, oh, here we come, Chargers. They're going to be, 10-0 starting into the season. They got a lot of work that's cut out for them. And right. I think this is a great move. But, Brent, I want to ask you, how do you feel realistically about, and Howard pulled up for me, the players that are at Michigan, the new recruits that are at Michigan, the juniors, right, those sophomores that are moving up to get their first time to start at the University of Michigan. Do you feel that they are somewhat lost in the shuffle? Like, Michigan's still a good football team, but they lost their coach. They're losing the quarterback. They're losing some other players. Are they in like, if you want to say, another rebuilding chapter now at Michigan?
No, they're fine. The way these college programs work, like Alabama and Michigan and Texas, they just reload every year with a new crop of the time. I mean, look at the rankings of the top recruiting classes every year. It's the same 10 teams in the top 10 every year, right? So they just reload. So fine, McCarthy's gone, Harbaugh's gone. Well, Sharon Moore is nothing to sneeze at. I think when we had Jamie Morris on the show a couple weeks ago, he talked about Sharon Moore and how he had stepped in and coached, 6 games this year for Harbaugh. I think he won more games for Michigan this year than Harbaugh won.
Hey, that's fair
right?
enough.
So they've already got their head coach. They're not going to change anything. I'm sure they have a little bit of an agreement on who he gets to take and who stays. I'm sure they did that amicably, right? Because they obviously don't want Harbaugh to gut the whole Michigan staff, right, and leave Sharon Moore with nothing. But assuming a majority of the staff stays in place, you got your recruiting class. They're going to be fine. They'll be they'll be in the playoff, which is going to be 12 teams next year. I mean, look, it might not be the same. Of course, it won't be the same, but it wasn't going to be the same with or without Harbaugh. So Michigan's fine. Sharon Moore is a good coach. It's a good transition for him. He gets to take over a program that's been built up by. This is exactly what Harbaugh wanted to do, Brandon. Yep. He wanted to come in, restore Michigan back to the top of the college football world, and then leave them with something to build on. He did that, and now he's gone.
He did. Listen, Brent, and you nailed it. He did a great job. I'm not going to say he turned the culture around or turned the environment around, because Michigan has been a powerhouse for a long time. They had their bumps in the road like every other team does, every organization, every franchise. You're great at times. You fall off a little bit, just like University of Florida, just like Florida State, just like Texas. You fall off, you get back on. So I don't have doubts that Michigan will be good. My point is, though, the drop-off when you lose that quarterback, like that powerhouse quarterback or the guy who was just managing the team properly, you're like, okay, what do we do next season? Okay, we got our guy. Let's start growing. He's going to be fine. No issues. But losing your quarterback, losing your head coach, this was something that was kind of like in the media a lot. So people were like fighting for Jim Harbaugh, right? Kind of like, free Jim Harbaugh, free Jim Harbaugh. Those recruits were like, let's go Harbaugh. He fought through the violations, some of those bad guys, bad boys vibes, like we're going to get this done kind of thing. But here's the problem. In the transfer portal and all these things that are going on, just like the Washington coach, DeBoer, goes to Alabama. Now these other players that are coming in to Washington are like, whoa, I went there for him. Juniors and seniors coming up are like, I'm playing here and I love the organization, but I'm out. So I'm not saying Michigan doesn't have a good team. I'm not saying that Michigan can't produce. I'm not saying that they won't be fine to compete. What I'm saying is, in the next several weeks, remember, this news just came out yesterday. This isn't a month old. This is yesterday. Jim Harbaugh just announced yesterday. So these players, I'm sure they had in their mind an inclination, of course, is he going to be here? Now that it's official and he's gone, I guarantee you, people feel some kind of like, whoa, this is like, I'm not saying that they take it to the chin like it's on them, but I'm just saying they got to feel some kind of way about this. My coach left me high and dry. Even the guys from Washington said, whoa, he just left us here. We've been building this program. There is going to be conversation about that. I think Michigan will be fine, but I do think that it's more interesting than people are thinking.
I actually think you're wrong. I think that you come from an era where that stuff mattered to the players and the coaches. I don't think that matters anymore to the players and coaches with the transfer portal, and they come in, if they don't play, they leave, and the coaches are leaving and the players are leaving all the time. I just don't think I get your perspective, and I think you were right 15 years ago. I don't think that's the culture anymore with NIL and the transfer portal and all the movement. I just think they expect this stuff happens and the players will be fine and they'll be ready and they'll compete next year at a high level and be one of the best teams in the country.
Well, before we move on from Jim Harbaugh and people coming in and watching now, good morning. I see on here Brenda, Teresa, Candy, good morning. Everyone that's coming into the chat. By
the way, that's the below average white guy fan club right there that you just read out. Teresa, Brenda, Candy, those are all.
I love Brent Chapman, baby.
That's my fan club right there.
So listen, before we move on to that, I'm gonna give you my quick little synopsis, and you could say 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20. When I went to Pitt, I had, and I'm not making this shit up, I had 80 scholarships for defense, Division 1A. Could have went a lot of places in the world to play defense. In high school, I was a great football player, and I love scoring touchdowns. I want to play running back. So what happens is late, I get a few scholarships at the running back position, which I wanted. So Pittsburgh sends me an offer. I take that offer. Now, what's exciting about this? I got there. I loved the school, loved the campus. It was fun. I also had the vibes of the coaches, the team. The stadium was great. You come through the tunnel, and they welcome you. Number 27, Brandon Mason. I was all pumped up, excited. Parents get to know the coach. Parents get to know the running back coach. We're good to go. That's my coach in the running back room. Weeks later, Brent, hey, I want to inform you, I'm moving on to other options, and I'm leaving the team, and I'm going to, Syracuse. Just give you a name. I go, okay, coach, good knowing you. I'm 17 years old. I'm really excited to come to school. You're gone. I just vibed with you. That's why I was going there. Loved it. Thank you. Now, check this out. Next coach comes in. I'm like, okay, great. He goes, Brent, don't worry about it. This is what we're doing. Can't wait to have you. I watched all your clips, your film. I recruited you at another team. Well, shit, that's great. I didn't go to your school, but hey, now we're reunited. This is awesome. Brent, 1 month later, hey, it didn't work out. We had everything lined up. I'm like, dude, this is the second running back coach in like 3 months. So I'm just telling you, at 17, 18 years old, your parents believe in your coach. They believe in your head coach primarily, but they believe in who's talking to you every day. They came to my house in my living room with my mom, and then they go, oh yeah, everything I told you, throw that shit out the window. It doesn't feel good. I know what you're saying. Times have changed. I went on a little rant there, but they're young and they need some guidance.
No, I think that's great perspective for everybody, and I think that is timeless, right? That applies all the way across the board. As it relates to Michigan, though, I think Michigan's done a good job of trying to keep that consistency. And when they transition from Harbaugh to Sharon Moore, they're going to try to keep that consistency. They understand that's what makes a great program, is that you don't change running back coaches 4 times in a year. It's why these lower programs struggle, because they can't keep that consistency. So great story, Brandon. I think that was awesome for everyone to hear. It kind of sheds light on how things work.
Hey guys, thanks for watching and tuning into the Brandon Mason Show. Please remember to like and subscribe. Until next time.